Hello and welcome back to Viewer Beware, month 11. I'm here with Jared at the Forge, the original filming location. It's very nostalgic.
Going back to our roots 11 months in.
Yeah, well, the last time we filmed here was for the May video.
Oh my god.
So it's been a little while, a lot has changed. Goosebumps is a lot worse, for sure. How you feeling?
It was another month.
Yeah.
We read books. I maybe will have one or two things to say about them.
I think I'm starting to develop Stockholm syndrome just that little bit, where it's like I gotta find something in these books.
I need to mentally prepare myself for you to say that you enjoyed Go Eat Worms.
All right. So anyway, I enjoyed Go Eat Worms. I didn't.
Thank God.
No.
I was so scared just then.
Go Eat Worms is kind of like I have wrestled my head around it because there are stuff in this book that I quite like. There's one thing in this book that I like, but it is a very big part of this book. So I think, in my opinion, this book would work as a short story. The idea of a little kid terrorizing his school with worm pranks, and then at the end, he gets his comeuppance. It makes sense if it's just like a couple of thousand words. This thing is 23,000, I think was what Stein said. It's like the average word count for a Goosebumps book. So there's a lot of fluff.
A lot of fluff. The whole fucking book is fluff.
That's the thing. But I really liked the main character. I found him quite entertaining. Allow me to read some quotes.
Annoying kid is annoying.
But he's like a fun annoying. That does exist. His mother said he was as skinny as a worm. Todd never thought that was funny. He took worms seriously.
Yeah.
Snails are for babies. We had snails in the 1st grade. No one cares about snails in 6th grade. No way they can compete with worms. Did you ever think of collecting snakes? Danny asked. No, Todd replied quickly, digging deep into the mud. No way. Why not? Because I like worms.
So this book doesn't work if you can't get your head around the idea of a kid really liking worms.
He's a strange one for sure, but he's had this like descent into madness that I was slightly captivated by. He gets really paranoid in that second half of the book, and it is just kind of fun watching. Like in any other book, these characters would be the most boring ass vanilla milquetoast pieces of shit, but they've got this loose cannon running around. It's nice to see them like react to the crazy bullshit.
You've actually been broken.
Yeah.
You've actually been broken.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Because you're saying all these things, you're like, oh, he's a loose cannon and he's crazy.
Yeah.
He has so much value to the story. What did you think of it? Oh, it was shit.
It is what it is. And what did you think of it, Jared?
Yeah, it was... Yep. I don't even want to say shit. It's another one of them books that exists. It's like a parody of a Goosebumps book.
Yeah.
This is like Stein. He just went, well, that's 1 month done.
That is where we're at. Where I think Stein has definitely... We run out of ideas, and that's fair. This is what, book 21? Yeah, 21. Which, look, he's written a lot of books. We had to write about worms eventually. And I guess it is time to talk about what happens in this book. So, what you've gathered so far, our main character, Todd, is really into worms. There's no particular reason established for it. That's just his thing. He likes to play with worms. He likes to collect them in a tank. He likes to shove them in things. He likes to terrorize his sister. I've forgotten her name.
I think one of the first things he does is he cuts a worm in half. And it's like, man, now I've got 2 worms. That
happens halfway into the book.
He talks about it at the start.
There's a very specific reason why it takes that long for him to cut it in half, though. That's like a plot important thing.
Plot, she says.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, there is a science expo coming up. And him and Danny are like best friends. Danny is clearly friends with Todd because he would not be able to make friends with anyone else because he's just such a loser. And I think Todd just kind of tolerates his existence and just needs someone to talk off of, kind of like Sherlock and Watson. And there's a science fair coming up. He's going to show off his worms. Surprise, fucking surprise. And
Is it like a worm house?
Yeah, it's like a dollhouse but with worms.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Can I get in on it?" "No, these are my worms. This is my worm project." And his sister's built a paper mache bird. It's a robin. And Todd's like, "Oh, it's so fucking stupid. It's a bird. I've got worms, baby." And then, oh my fucking god, this dickhead Patrick, he's making a worm project too for the science fair. And Todd is not having it. He's very upset. He sees Patrick digging around in the mud. He's picking up worms too. He's like, "God damn it. Fuck it." And he's trying to wring it out of him. It's like, "Well, what are the worms for? What's your project?" And anytime he asks, the bell rings. So he can't find out what the worms are doing. And each time Todd and Danny are digging up worms in, I think it's the baseball field at school, there's tremors.
It's after like the third base. It's right behind that.
Yeah.
I think like the soils are meant to be like loose.
Yes.
So there's lots of worms.
So, and they ask the other kids about it. They don't know what these are. So it's kind of put in the backs of our minds for a while. At one point, Todd's like, "Come on, sis, you got to tell me what's the deal with his worms. Where's his address?" And it's like, "Yeah, here's an address." And then he goes over to this old decrepit house, and there's like a spooky face in the window, and he runs away. And he's like, "Oh, you didn't actually go to that house, did you? That was a haunted house for a Halloween thing. They just left that decoration there." He's like, "Okay, I'm going to get revenge." And he plans revenge. We get to the science expo, and we find out that Patrick's science fair project is a skyscraper of worms. So it's like Todd's but bigger.
House versus skyscraper.
It's a metaphor. And Danny makes this shitty ass balloon solar system thing. And then Todd's prank comes to fruition where the judges are checking out the sister's paper mache bird, and worms start falling out. And then she gets into a fight with Todd, and they land into this kid's science project. And I'm pretty sure the words are, "Look out, they're liquids and gases." And then it blows up. And like keeps repeating that phrase, "they're liquids and gases," like that's supposed to mean anything. I thought I'd point that out as a weird quote. And so, guess who wins the science fair? No, it was Danny. Danny's balloons win. And I had a little chuckle to myself because I needed to enjoy myself this month. And then, so Todd and the sister have gotten into a fight, and Todd scares the sister by cutting a worm in half. And then the sister's like, "Todd, you've wreaked violence upon this worm. The worms are going to get back. They're going to get back at you." It's like, "That's stupid. They're not going to do that." You'll never guess what the second half of this book is. So the second half is worms start showing up in everything. His hat, his homework, not really. I think that's just the cover. His food, pretty much anywhere you can think of. His pants, probably.
There's that one part where he looks over at his worms and like they're like standing up and like looking at him, and he's like, "There's no way the worms are looking at me, right?" And they're just like...
This is what I mean, where it's like, it's this descent into madness, where he doesn't know what to believe anymore. He's convinced the sister's just pranking him. He's like, "Did Patrick give you these worms?" And then, I'm saying this verbatim, "No, Patrick is not giving me worms." Beautiful quote. Beautiful quote. And Todd is forced to throw out all his worms because his dad walks in on him staring and talking to them at like midnight. He's like, "Dude, this is too fucking weird. Please get rid of them."
Yeah, why does he go down there? Is it like...
He tries to appease them.
Yeah, he tries to go down there and talk to them, and then his dad comes downstairs with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I thought you were a fucking crook, man."
Yeah, it's one of those things. And then as Todd comes to school the next day, he overhears his sister talking to her friend, who's like, "Yeah, we totally got Todd, didn't we, by putting worms in his stuff." He's like, "I He's like, I'm going to get right back into worms, and I'm going to show her there's no such thing as too much worms. It's prank time, baby. And then Todd and Danny start digging up some more worms. And then the tremors come to their fruition. The ground collapses, and a gigantic mummy worm shows up to eat Todd. And then the sister walks over with a paper mache bird, and the worm thinks it's an actual bird, so it fucks off. And then Todd is like, well, I'll never play with worms again. I've learnt my lesson. Playing with worms results in a giant mummy worm coming out of the ground and trying to eat you. It's a big oopsie on my part. And then he gets into butterflies and, stabbing them with pins and shit. And then he sees a giant butterfly with a pin coming to get him. And that's the end of the book.
What a book.
I really did sum it up, didn't I?
Yeah, you do this wonderful thing.
Yeah.
When there's something that you like about the book, but you know the book isn't good.
Yeah.
You really want to make sure that we understand what you like about it. You put in 150% effort with the synopsis.
Shouldn't I?
Well, yeah, but also, this book fucking sucks.
It wasn't very good. I liked the main character.
Yeah, he's fine. Worms.
Bottom text.
Nothing happens, and then there's a giant worm out of nowhere at the end.
I wanted the worm to eat him.
I wanted the worms to actually be doing something for the whole book. I don't want to do the, are the worms actually alive? Are they not? I don't give a fuck. Give me something scary. Scare me. Just do something.
Honestly,
something, please.
Like, having the worms actually, be a collective coming together, like some chicken run bullshit would have been fun.
The energy that you had getting into it, I would have that energy if we actually had evil worms.
Yeah.
If the worms were like, we're gonna get you, boyo. You've had it too good for too long, boyo. There'd be something there. It'd be stupid and funny.
Yeah.
And I'd go you know what? It's not scary, but it's fucking dumb, and I love it. This is just, there is nothing there until a giant worm shows up. That does nothing, leaves, does not explain itself, and then the book ends.
It's one of those things.
That's go eat worms.
Yeah.
I really don't know. It's funny being like, let's do a Goosebumps review series, and then when it's my turn to talk about the books, I go, there's nothing there, it sucks, move on. And I've done this, I think, every month.
Yeah.
There's just...
Why do we keep coming back? What is there to say?
What is there to say about Go Eat Worms?
Yeah.
It's, the book sucks. It's a little bit funny, but nothing happens for half of the book until a giant worm appears. Go Eat Worms, ladies and gentlemen. I'll check my notes, but I'm telling you right now, I haven't got anything to say.
I think I covered.
Okay, no, I did have something funny to read. So I said Todd and Patrick felt like Elle and Kira. In that first scene where they're both trying to get information out of each other without giving away what's happening, you could just imagine the Death Note music and...
That would have been good.
Yeah, that's the only note that I reckon is worthwhile, and it was a Death Note reference.
Alright, and then we talked about the TV adaptation.
Worms are nature's perfect creatures. They aerate the soil, recycle waste.
So they cut out the Science Expo.
They cut out all of the fluff,
but
because it was a one-parter.
Well, yeah, but the Science Expo was literally the point of the story.
For half of it. For
Yeah.
the first half of it.
Yeah.
So, I can appreciate them cutting that all out to focus on the second half, which was the stuff about worms.
Yes. Patrick's gone, which is a shame, but also, whatever.
Yeah, no Ellen Kira moments.
Yeah.
But, at least we get worms. Let's talk about the worms. The little fucking shitty worm effect they use for the worms looking at Todd. Oh, mwah.
I can't even remember that now.
There was just
you'd
have the shots of the dirt, and then the worms have their heads tilted like that, and they just rise up and they go womp womp.
And it'd be the same animation in every shot.
Yeah. They'd move the same way every time.
It was so
because it's all they
distracting.
could do. That's all they built for it.
Yeah. Man, they're really going to reuse that 3 worm coming out of the dirt and talking effect, aren't they? I want subtitles over those guys.
Oh, that was funny.
Yes.
Do you want to get straight to the changes? Because most of it is just like, fine. It is when stuff is actually happening in Go Eat Worms, that's what they have. There's a couple little changes that happen towards the end.
Yes.
That elevate it. Definitely better than the book. Still not good.
Yeah.
Well, what was it? He goes out into the woods for a reason. I'm sure there was a reason for it.
He wanted worms.
He wanted to go pee-pee in the woods.
Yeah.
And the toilet was being used at home. So Dad said, you better go out to the old woods.
Please keep in mind, it's been 2 weeks since we watched these episodes.
But he goes, sure thing, Dad. Hope I don't fall into any caverns made by giant worms on the way. And the dad goes, ha ha ha, you're fucked, kid.
Well, you'll never guess what he does.
He falls into a cavern, which is made by the giant worms.
It's the same fucking 3 worms.
Oh my god.
You guys have one effect and you're just gonna keep milking it.
Do the worms speak to him? Do they say, we're gonna get you, Todd?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Do you remember how he gets away from the worm in this story?
No.
He just says, oh, I won't bother worms again. I was like, yeah, alright.
And the giant worm goes, yeah man, we cool. Just stay away from our turf, yeah.
Hey, Editing Hadley here, long time no see. So generally how these things work is we describe a thing that happens in the episode and then I show a clip of the episode as we're describing it. I can't do that because what I just described does not happen. Now, what actually happens is what happens in the book. The Robin comes in, the fake paper mache Robin comes in, and then the worm gets scared off. Now, why I thought that was how the plot is resolved. See, I don't remember the episode, like, at all, because it was weeks ago now, so I did the cheeky thing and I read it off the wiki. And it turns out that the wiki is wrong. Shocking, I know, the internet is supposed to be right about everything. So, nah.
Now, do you remember the final scene?
Yes, he goes fishing.
He goes fishing.
He goes fishing. Does he have worms for bait?
He has little fishies for bait.
Yep.
Because he's done with worms.
He is.
And then he takes a bite of his sandwich.
What the
What just happened? And that was the TV adaptation.
It's a joke that I feel like I've seen around before. But it's good every time. Fish reeling in humans is just funny.
It's in Sherlock Holmes: A Game of Shadows, which you need to watch the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies at some point.
No.
Okay.
So yes. I really should. Yeah, that was the TV adaptation. It was better. It was funny. It was still Go Eat Worms though.
Yes. The bird looked good. That's something to talk about.
Yeah, there was the shot of like the worms dropping out of the bird's beak. That was, yeah. There were worms. Was there a part where they actually cut a worm in half while they were filming?
They must have.
Are there any animal rights activists for worms? If you
I feel
care,
like if you don't have a backbone, it's like,
yeah,
who gives a shit?
yeah. If you care about the health and well-being of worms, please comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say about worms getting cut in half on live television. It wasn't live. Let's talk about Ghost Beach.
Why not? Wormworld. Off to a good start.
Yo,
No
worms?
title card?
Give it time, okay?
It's usually at the very first frame.
You just have no patience.
Oh, thank God. That's why I wasn't going to have something to cut to in the video.
Did you want to read another book about ghosts? Because good news, guys, we've got a book about ghosts on the beach.
It's on the beach.
This one's okay. I don't know. There's definitely ghosts. Do they do anything? No. But there's ghosts.
Stein does keep coming back to ghosts.
You want to know what there isn't? There isn't a fucking beach.
I was going to say the same thing. It does not matter. This is set at a beach at
It's
all.
a very good title.
Yeah.
Um,
Just like Ghost Beach, that sounds fun. Going to a
Yeah.
beach with ghosts.
I don't know.
Should be called Ghost Cemetery.
Yeah.
Ghost Cave.
you could call it Ghost Island.
Yeah.
And like that'd be better. Why wasn't it called Ghost Island?
I don't think it is on an island.
It might as well be. You could easily make it an island.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not enough going on to justify it as an island. It's just
No.
like a little thing.
the whole thing is built around a twist that you'd have to be blind to not see coming.
They reveal it and they're like, oh, that wasn't the reveal.
Yeah.
That was just a foreshadowing. That
Yeah.
wasn't the reveal.
No.
In literally any other story, it would have been the reveal. Not in this one. We're Goosebumps, baby.
Are you ready for it?
Yeah, why not?
So stop me if you heard this one before. A brother and a sister are visiting their distant relatives.
What? Fuck off.
It's the same setup we've seen before.
Yeah.
Last time we had this, I think it was Scarecrow.
Yes.
Yeah, but this time instead of being
Deep Trouble before that, which was the same month.
Well, that one was Uncle,
Yeah.
which I think is a subgenre of the same
Yes.
trope.
Curse the Mummy's Tomb also had that.
If it's not an uncle,
Yeah.
it's the grandparents.
Yeah.
This one fits into the grandparents category, but they're distant cousins.
They're described as ancient cousins.
Ancient cousins,
Yeah.
yeah. So the two kids, what the fuck are their names? Jerry and Terry,
Awful.
right? Jerry and Terry Sadler.
Do you remember the last book where our main character's name was Jerry?
Oh my god. Is this our third Jerry?
This is our second Jerry.
Second Jerry. What was the last one?
Piano lessons can be murder.
Piano lessons, yeah.
I'm keeping track of it. We had a Danny in that book,
You're-
and there was
you're
a Danny
looking
in
out.
Ghost Next Door.
Yeah. Ghost Next Door, that's
Yeah,
a
let's
good
go
one.
back to that
Yeah,
one.
I missed that one. Because we had
I
discourse
miss-
about that one where you
Yeah.
were like, it's not that good. How's it look now?
I miss Be Careful What You Wish For.
Stein, why must you do this? So Jerry and Terry Sadler, they're visiting their ancient cousins. Don't think about it. They live, it says like New England or something.
It's always New
It's-
England in these kinds of stories.
Yeah, it's something that like Jerry and Terry's parents used to go and visit when they were kids. So they're just like, oh goody, it's summer vacation. You guys can go and have this experience that we had growing up. That'd be really wonderful. Go spend time with your family. And then Jerry and Terry are like, wow, they were even old when Mum and Dad were here. Dads, don't think about that. And then when they're on the island or wherever the fuck they are, it's just like chill times. They're just having fun. They're making... What do they do? The grandma makes stuff. The granddad sits around and does whatever. They don't
Cute
even
grandpa
grandpa
shit.
Yeah, it's the same family we've read a million fucking times.
I want to go back to the grandparents from Let's Get Invisible. That very brief scene
And they
had.
were so underused.
Yeah, they had
Anyway,
one brief scene.
we need to stop reminiscing. We're going to get through this one. So then what happens next? Terry has this really fun hobby of hers where she goes to graveyards with a thin sheet of paper and a crayon, and she just goes... It just makes a copy of the tombstone. And she likes doing that. And then when they're at the graveyard, they meet these 3 kids. Fucked if I know their names. They are kids.
Nat is one of them. Sam. Can't remember the other one.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
All right.
So Huey, Dewey, and Louie rock up. They're all a bit scared, meeting new people, and eventually, they become a bit of friends.
The little kid says nothing.
Little kid doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
What is it? Earlier, Jerry and Terry find the bones of a dog.
Yeah.
And they're all like, what happened to this dog? And the kids, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, they go, oh, that was the ghost. The ghost killed that dog and had it for lunch. And they go, there's a ghost here. And then, Huey goes, Dewey and Louie, shut up. We're not talking about it. Oh, my God. We're not going to tell these guys about the ghost. Be quiet. And, they all part. And the kids, Dewey, oh, my God, I'm not talking about them. Jerry and Terry go back to hang out with the cousins.
I really hate the Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Jerry and Terry.
Huey, Dewey, Jerry, Terry. And they go back home and they have a fucking night. They talk about the ghost, and they're just like, wow, that sounds stupid, kids. Don't go in the cave where the ghost apparently is. So there's a cave.
Just this back and forth where it's like they go to the beach, the spooky, vaguely spooky thing happens. They go back And like, you'll never guess what we saw. And like, oh, that's stupid. That probably didn't happen. And then they just keep doing that.
Every time you see Huey, Dewey, and Louie, you learn like a tiny bit more about the legend of this ghost. Not that there's anything really going on for it. I think at this point I can skip half the book. So one day I'm worried I'm going to jump ahead.
There's a light in the cave.
I'm not. So what they do is they find this graveyard and they're looking through it, and then Jerry goes, "Oh my God, Terry, come look at these tombstones that I just found." And there's Huey, Dewey, and Louie Sadler.
That couldn't mean anything, right?
And they're just like, "Are our friends ghosts? We need to go ask questions." And they go up to them like, "Hey, you ghosts?" Huey, Dewey, and Louie, you go, "No, we were named after our ancestors. That's what our family does."
We should mention that everyone's last name is Sadler in this story.
Everybody's last name is Sadler.
That's not really, like, explained. That's just a thing.
Just be like that.
Yeah.
Actually, we need to talk about the history of the Sadlers very quickly, don't we? So, the Sadler family, they were moving to New England from, I guess, Old England, and then their ship crashed, or they were stranded, or there was some problems.
Winter.
They all died throughout the winter, right? Yeah, it was right after they got there, and everyone died, except, I guess, a handful of Sadlers. But everybody who went there was a Sadler, and there's all tombstones everywhere of Sadlers, and that's why the cousins still live there, because it was like their first home or whatever. And apparently there's Huey, Dewey, and Louie Sadler as well, and it's like, what the fuck's up with that? Don't think about it. We just told you that we're just named after them. Why are you questioning us? Don't you trust us? We're friends. Anyway, do you want to help us kill this ghost? And everyone's like, what, kill the ghost? And it's like, yeah, haven't you noticed that cave over there? There's a light from inside of it. That's where the ghost lives. So what we do, and there's one point where they want to go and see if the ghost is actually there or not. And they get all the way to the entrance of the cave, and there's a light flickering, and the light goes out. And then like, and they run away. So then what the three kids, Huey, Dewey, and Louie say, is they say, yeah, so that cave is a sanctuary. So the ghost is safe inside of there. So what we want to do, because it can only come out at night, what we want to do is get this boulder from up top of the cave and drop it in the entrance and seal it inside there forever. And then it'll be trapped inside the sanctuary and we'll be safe from the ghost. And Jerry and Terry are like, well, that makes sense. That passes the vibe check. Let's go and do that. And then Huey, Dewey, and Louie were like, cool, well, you do that. And we're going to stay all the way down here while you go up to the cave's entrance, and we'll just tell you if the ghost is coming or not. And they're like, okay, sus, but okay. And they go up there, and they go to drop the thing, and then Huey, Dewey, and Louie are like, Jerry and Terry are like, what the fuck are they going on about? And the ghost comes out, and the ghost is coming for them, and the chapter ends. And the new chapter starts, and the ghost like dragging them inside the cave. But he's not a ghost. He's just an old guy. He's just an old man. And he's just like, this cave is a sanctuary.
He's a Sadler too, by the way.
He's a fucking Sadler too. What was it? He was
Harrison.
Was he a historian?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just like, I came here to investigate my family's roots, and I found these free kid ghosts.
There's a 100-year gap in history that I'm trying to find out what's going on.
Shut the fuck up. No one ever was going to get that. And then he's just like, those free kids are ghosts. They were trying to seal me in here. They didn't want to come up here because they're right. It is a sanctuary. I'm living out in here because I want to trap them in here to put their souls to rest. And they're all just like, why should we believe you? Those three kids are our friends. And he goes, I can prove it to you. Go down and check the graveyard again. Report back here when you see what they've got waiting for you. And they go, okay, sus. And they walk all the way down to the graveyard. And there's 2 new graves there, marked Jerry and Terry Sadler. And it's just like, oh no, the 3 ghost kids want to kill 2 other kids and they're all ghosts forever. And they go back up there, and there's a kerfuffle. There's the 3 kids. No, Terry has the plan to trick the 3 ghosts into going into the cave with them. And she's just calling them a pussy the whole time. She's just like, you won't go into the cave, bet. And the 3 ghosts are like, we're scared, but we'll do it. Do you really think you killed the ghost? And they walk all the way up into the cave. Out comes the old man. The old man's like pushing the ghosts in just by walking because they're scared of him. And then he's like, no, do it now, or whatever. and they drop the boulder over the entrance to the sanctuary.
You forgot the dog.
Is there a ghost dog? Oh no, he has a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a dog, and the dog barked at the 3 kids, which proves that they're ghosts, because dogs are always sensitive to these things. I too have read Dead House. Yeah, and then the sanctuary gets sealed with the 4 saddlers inside because the old man stayed in there as well. And then Jerry and Terry go, wow, what an adventure. Let's go home. And they go back home to the cousins, and they're all having their dinner, and it's like a wonderful little family moment. And then the dog walks past, and the dog starts barking. And then Jerry and Terry are like, why are you barking, dog? We got rid of the ghosts. There's no more ghosts anymore. And the dog's like, woof, woof, woof. And then up stands the cousins, and they go, naughty doggy, you had to give away our secret. What are we going to do with these kids now? End of the book. It's got more going on than Go Eat Worms. It's a real simple story. It's not terrible, but it's not good. It's real easy to see where it's going the entire time, and you still have to sit through it. Yeah.
I liked the dynamic with Harrison and the other 3 ghosts, where there's just like this decades-long beef, and he's just like trying to get these kids into the cave.
Yeah.
And then, like, these other 2 kids come along, and then they're just, like, trying to gaslight back and forth. Yeah. There's an episode of Community where Chang, like, goes to see a show, and, like, the audience apparently died in a fire, and they're all ghosts. And then he's like, this guy outside just told me that you're all ghosts. No, he's the ghost.
No, stop that! You're ghosts!
We're ghosts?
The janitor out there told me you died in 1997.
Janitor?
Hey, those guys in there told me that you're the one that died in a fire, and you're a ghost!
And you just believed them?
And that was treated as a joke and not like an actual story. There you go. This book also, the very first chapter is a dream.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
they're
bad.
They're on a ghost. They're on a beach, and there's a ghost, and the ghost gets him, and then he wakes up. And it's like, great, I love wasting a chapter right off the bat because you need to open with a scare.
He gets
and
right
you know
into
the
it.
book isn't going to be scary.
Gets right into it.
Oh, man. I had 1 note for that entire book.
That's pretty impressive.
I skipped over the part where they ask the cousins about what's happening with the light in the cave, and the uncle cousin grandpa, he says, oh, that? Aurora Borealis. So my 1 note is haha simp joke.
I did write that down too. I do apologize. The children turn into skeletons, like their flesh peels off. That was pretty gnarly.
Oh yeah, and I feel like that's an effect we've seen in the show before, but I can't think of what it was in. Which tells me it's happened in one of the books. Probably Dead House. Probably Dead House.
So I kind of like the family ghost reveal and the older cousin thing. And the only reason why is because it's the only like tiniest bit of subtlety we've gotten in some of these books where there's a conversation where they say that they know Huey, Dewey, and Louie at one point, and that throws the scent off of Huey, Dewey, and Louie. But what it should have done was made the other 2 more suspicious. And those kids are also referred to as cousins, just like those guys were.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of flavor.
It works
something
because
to like.
you're spending so much time with the obvious reveal of the kids.
Yeah.
That, the slightly less obvious reveal of the cousins it kind of flies under your radar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Succeeding from failure, I guess.
Truly a hollow victory.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That was Ghost Beach. It was better than Go Eat Worms. I have a hard time hating the ghost books, just because like they're simple, but because they're simple, it's very hard to completely fuck them up. But this one's probably the worst one we've had so far.
Yeah.
Because it's got like nothing. Yeah. Just wasn't as stupid as Go Eat Worms.
No.
TV adaptation, boyos. This one was a 2-parter, yeah?
No, it was a 1-part.
Another 1-parter?
Yeah.
Good. Thank God. Again, it's been like 2 weeks.
He cut out Louis.
Ah.
There's just 2 kids. The one thing that I can make a note about this adaptation is John Tron reviewed it.
Oh man, you and your dumb hobbies.
Yeah, fuck you for being interested in things, you stupid bitch!
Who makes wax rubbing?
I do, because I'm interested in things.
Okay, at first I was kind of advocating for you because you was being a dick for no reason, thought you were the victim, but now I can basically see that you're both pretentious fucks.
Yeah, it was pretty like 1-to-1. They just did it. They just did Ghost Beach.
There's a subtle change at the end where it's implied that they're going to eat the dog.
Maybe he's not such a bad dog, Brad. Maybe he's quite a good dog.
They're gonna eat the dog.
Terry, Jerry, why don't you kids go and set the table while Agatha gets busy in the kitchen? Don't say you're not hungry.
They're gonna eat the dog. Look at those fuckers.
What the fuck?
It's always that, like, the last couple of seconds are like, let's make it weird. We can do it.
We had to change it from the grandparents planning how to kill grandparents, the fucking cousins planning how to kill the kids, to, oh, they want to eat the dog.
To be fair, they do eat a dog in the book, just not them. Because having to think about eating a dog is like, well, it's fine if we see a corpse, but not when we're preparing to eat one.
Yes. That was so stupid.
That was dark. More of that, please.
So the ending wasn't, what are we going to do with these kids? It was, hey kids, meat's back on the menu.
I feel like I'm just going to have a supercut of our reactions because I feel like that is probably the most analysis you're going to get out of this one. I think we're done.
Yeah, no.
Oh, you can't do that. That's racist.
What the fuck?
They went on about some ghost in a cave.
Never heard of it. Well, I got some reading to do.
Oh, I'll help.
I'm going to help you read, dear. I'll turn the pages, you hold the book.
If you read it out loud, I will listen.
I'll put the bookmark in when you're done.
You'll read every second word.
Some nice beef stew.
I'm liking the cinematography.
I can eat more than that, Agatha.
It's a little different.
What's the shot called?
It's called... It's not a bird's eye shot, because you can't have a bird in there.
I'm pretty sure it's still a bird's eye shot.
Yeah, it's a ceiling eye shot.
POV, you are the ceiling.
I didn't see a ghost. Just a light.
You ever hear of Aurora Borealis, Jerry?
Don't. Look, they did their job. They did
Yeah.
Ghost Beach in one episode
Thank
for Canadian
God.
TV.
We only had 2 episodes to watch this month.
Yeah. We'll see you for the ranking. Fuck, this is going to be a short episode compared to
Thank
some of our ones that
God.
go for like an hour and a half.
We're not playing a stupid board game this month.
Listen, you want to check out that cave?
Are you nuts? It's the middle of the night.
I know, but I can't sleep. I keep thinking about that light I saw. Come on, Terry. Where's your sense of adventure?
I don't know. Where's your sense of night and day?
The mise-en-scène in this scene needs some improvement.
You hear that?
You trying to sound smart? Or?
You think the ghost got it?
That eyebrow needs to chill. Do you know what a mise-en-scène is?
Yeah, but only assholes talk about mise-en-scène.
Well, I can't determine the spatial awareness of the room because I'm only seeing 2 completely separated shots. So the mise-en-scène is poor. And I will talk about that. I want to put both of these in the bin.
Well, we can get rid of Curse of the Mummy.
You reckon that's better than Curse of the Mummy's Tomb? It's definitely close.
I just... Worm's definitely in the bin.
Yeah.
I just don't like Piano Murder or Curse the Mummy's Tomb. But I cannot tell you which is better.
Did you want me to decide?
No.
Okay, well, I'll just stay out of it. You have your little existential crisis.
Yeah, this is a moment.
I'm going to figure out where we're putting Go Eat Worms in the bin. Was this better than Bees? Bees got right into the plot.
I'm going to say it's worse than Bees.
Yeah. Better than Werewolf?
Better than Werewolf.
Okay, that's done then.
Oh, no.
No?
At least Werewolf had Werewolf.
Worms had worms.
Yeah, but like one big worm right at the end when nothing else mattered.
But like there's a lot of worms in
Yeah,
the
but
book.
they don't do anything. They're just worms.
Okay. I like the characters more in this one.
You know what? I'll let you have that win.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that Piano Murder's better. Oh, that was a ghost one as well.
Yeah.
Fuck, is it? Because like these two books suck.
They do.
And so does this one.
This setting is at least interesting. It's in
Yeah.
Egypt and shit.
It's hard because we want to clear the board, right? Get everything below 12 needs to go. But like, they all suck.
It is astonishing how Curse of the Mummy's Tomb has stayed on the board for this long. That shouldn't be allowed.
Dude, you know what? I don't want to think about it anymore. Just fucking...
You're still thinking about it?
I'm going to say Ghost Speech is at least slightly better than Mummy's Tomb. Because Mummy... At least in Ghost Speech, there's ghosts. The twist is obvious, but at least there's a plot. And then Curse of the Mummy's Tomb is just like, oh, don't worry, guys. It's definitely mummies. We'll get there eventually, guys. And then it happens, and it's like, oh, did it really happen on that? I'll never tell.
Which had less plot is the question of the day, huh? Well, alright, so Curse of the Mummy's Tomb is off the board.
Do you agree with what I just said?
Sure.
Hadley's like, stop recording.
I have no strong opinions anymore. They don't exist.
Yeah, no. I'll hold the bin. You can do the honors.
Now let's do it.
See you later, trash.
Go Eat Worms and the Mummy's Tomb. Speaking of Mummy's Tomb, what are we reading for the final month of the year, Jared?
We just had to make room for Return of the Mummy.
It has to be better. It has to be better.
Well, it's called Return of... Literally all it has to do is have a mummy.
Please.
That's literally all it has to do, and then I'm happy.
Please. Oh, but Phantom of the Auditorium.
I give it up. Another ghost book. Let's go.
Like it could be, but also like that title is so fucking dumb. I can't wait.
Is that the one that has the cover of the guy holding the head?
No.
No, which one's that?
I don't know.
Is that
what
Don't Lose Your Head?
I don't know what that is.
Which was the cover for Phantom of the Auditorium?
It's a guy on a stage with a mask and he's like, ooh.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to look up what that fucking Goosebumps book is. He's walking down the stairs, he's a ghost.
Oh, the Headless Ghost.
Headless. You know what? That makes so much sense.
Done.
Yeah, and that'll be our last month of the year. We're gonna take a break in January. That's gonna be fantastic. I can't believe we've almost completed an entire year of this dumb project that I approached you with and said, hey, you want to read Goosebumps? It'd be real funny.
It's been an interesting back half of the year. I wanted to say, 2 months in a row, it has rained on the day of filming. It hasn't rained during filming since month 2. Like, thank you.
I'm not going to be grateful for the world doing the bare minimum.
It has rained like every other day all year. It has been ridiculous.
World is a fuck, born to die. Hate it.
Alright.
Yeah, Goosebumps. See you next month, kids. Hope you have a good Christmas.